apologized. His best man from our wedding publicly wrote that he regretted standing up for such trash. His brother became the godfather and attended all appointments with me. Tom followed us to one appointment, standing in the parking lot with flowers, but I walked past him in silence. When my water broke at 2 a.m. at 37 weeks, I quietly left with my mom. Tom woke up at his normal time, went to work, and spent the day in meetings. He only found out I'd given birth when our doorbell camera sent him a notification of my sister arriving with balloons that said, "It's a girl." He called me frantically and I answered on speaker while surrounded by nurses. "Why didn't you tell me you were in labor?" He screamed, and I calmly replied, "You said stop talking about the pregnancy, so I did." The nurses all gasped and one actually said, "Oh my God, what a monster." Tom rushed to the hospital but had to walk past medical staff who'd heard what he'd said, all glaring with disgust. When he burst into my room, he was calculating, not angry. He pulled out his phone and showed me a recording. "Good thing I have you on tape saying you deliberately keep me from my child's birth," he said. "My lawyer says that's parental alienation." I stared at him in horror as he smiled for the first time in months. "Now," he said, "let's discuss custody." I looked down at Luna, the baby I'd prayed for and suffered 3 years to have, and realized I might lose her to the man who couldn't even stand to hear she existed. My whole body went cold staring at his smiling face while my mom grabbed Luna from my arms and backed away toward the corner of the room. The nurses who'd been checking my vitals froze and one of them reached for the call button while another stepped between Tom and the bed. Tom's lawyer walked in behind him carrying a leather briefcase and pulled out a thick stack of papers that he placed on my bedside table. He told me these were emergency custody papers and that I had 7 days to respond before the hearing where they'd prove I deliberately kept Tom from his parental rights. My hands shook as I looked at the papers claiming I'd endangered Luna by not telling her father about the birth. Tom stood there recording everything on his phone while his lawyer explained how my admission proved parental alienation and that no judge would let me keep primary custody after what I'd done. My sister grabbed her phone and started scrolling through her contacts while talking fast to someone about needing an emergency family lawyer right away. My mom still held Luna tight and refused to move when Tom stepped toward them saying he wanted to hold his daughter. The nurse who'd hit the call button told Tom he needed to leave because visiting hours were over and I was still recovering from delivery. Tom's lawyer said they had every right to be there, but 2 security guards showed up and told them both to leave immediately or they'd call the police. Tom pointed at me and said this wasn't over and that he'd see me in court before walking out with his lawyer following behind. My sister hung up her phone and said her friend from college knew an amazing family lawyer named Lauren McKnight who could meet us tomorrow at my parents' house. That evening after the hospital discharged me, I sat in my parents' living room holding Luna while Lauren spread Tom's recording and the custody papers across the coffee table. She listened to the recording 3 times and then looked up at me with a small smile saying, "Context was everything in family court." She explained that one recorded statement wouldn't override months of documented behavior showing why I stayed silent about the pregnancy. Lauren pulled out a yellow legal pad and started writing down everything we'd need for our defense, starting with every single text Tom sent me during the pregnancy. She wanted copies of his voicemails begging me to talk about the baby after telling me to stop, screenshots of my mom's Facebook posts about being my only support, and statements from everyone who witnessed Tom's original comments. My sister had already started a folder on her laptop with screenshots of Tom